Hey guys, it's Gary Wong with GaryWongRealty.com again. People know me as the Christian Realtor. I'm also the author of the book on Vancouver real estate. And today I'm here with Bai Jiang again, my great friend, local real estate investor, as well as the founder of Vancouver's largest real estate investing meetup group with over 2,500 members. It's called Earning Passive Income Through Real Estate. So today we're going to talk about a common topic that people have heard of, but people don't really know how it really works. We're going to talk about concept of joint venture, JV. So like typical in business, it's like, oh, JV means we split it 50-50, somebody does all the work and somebody doesn't, and somebody puts all the money. So today we're going to hear an expert opinion from Bai Jiang. So Bai Jiang, why don't you share a little bit about what you know about JVs?
Okay, so why would somebody want to joint venture? A person can't do everything by themselves, so they need help with something. Maybe they've got two parts of the puzzle and they're missing the last part, which if they waited for it, they may be able to do it, but it's going to take time. There's an opportunity that's missed. So think of a joint venture as being everybody's coming to the table. They're contributing something to the table such that it becomes a part of the overall solution. So with regards to real estate, there's a number of things that are required to complete a real estate transaction. Things such as down payment, the ability to qualify for a mortgage, as well as the expertise, time, and knowledge in terms of how to actually put the deal together and manage the asset over the life of the investment itself. So we're going to briefly cover those topics and how it kind of works from a general joint venture perspective, how it can be structured, and such that maybe instead of waiting for the perfect timing, you might be able to move forward ahead faster. Okay, so typically if we think of the pie for the joint venture itself, we're going to use just hypothetical numbers in this situation, nothing concrete because each situation is different. So as mentioned, down payment would be one of the components that's required to complete a real estate transaction. And we'll just peg it at 50% in this situation. And this is the money that's required to purchase the property from a down payment perspective, whether it be 20%, 25% of the purchase price. The other component would be the ability to qualify for a mortgage. And we'll just say that's about 20%. As mentioned, these are just rough numbers that you can kind of play with. Because each person is in a different situation, each deal is unique. So this is, with regards to qualification of mortgages, lenders are requiring more disclosure in terms of other third parties that are involved, so make sure that you do comply with that. And the other missing component is the expertise. So in terms of knowledge of the investment itself, the area, as well as time, because time is non-renewable. People want to invest in real estate but may not necessarily have that time. So they're willing to participate in the returns but not necessarily be as active. So that, we'll just say the expertise will account for the remaining 30% of the overall pie itself. So when you factor in all these three very important components, this will allow the investor to be able to move forward faster instead of waiting for one of these components before they can take action and execute and then purchase the property itself. So also one thing to keep in mind is that with joint ventures, it is getting into investments, and this is where Securities Commission in terms of regulations can come into play. And that's where partners that are close associates, family members, or friends is going to be important to just keep things simple as well as comply with securities regulations. Otherwise, you'd have, if you were to try and go larger scale and syndicate money, then you'd have to go through a lawyer and much more comprehensive. Even drafting this joint venture itself, make sure,
you gotta go through a lawyer and make sure it's drafted properly.
Exactly, right? And the joint venture itself, that agreement, it basically lays out all the rules in terms of how decisions are made, and it protects all parties, not just one party. You want to make sure that there's language in there to treat certain situations such that situation was to arise, you don't. There's rules in terms of how to deal with that situation versus trying to be, because you're probably going to be, that individuals are going to be emotionally charged at that time and may not be thinking rationally at the time to make a decision. So that's where having rules laid out in
Yeah.
advance is going to make things a little bit easier.
Yeah, definitely. Like a legal joint venture contract
Yeah,
drafted
exactly.
by a lawyer, right?
Yes, so consult a lawyer with regards to this, make sure everything is kosher.
So then how do they split the funds later? Like
This percentage is based on profits afterwards. So let's
Okay.
just say the investment itself was treated as a 5-year term. Let's say easy, mainly because that may be the term of the mortgage. So at the end of 5 years, there's a decision that needs to be made. The situation is reviewed in terms of, is the market, the property still a good property to invest in, or has, say, one of the partners has something impacted their life such that they have to get the money back at that point instead of continuing the second 5-year term. The second 5-year term is actually where it's more beneficial from a mortgage perspective. First 5 years, only about 10% of the balance is paid off. Second 5 years, that's when it accelerates even more. So really, with regards to real estate investing, getting your somebody to pay off the mortgage for you is really attractive.
Can you give us like an example with some arbitrary numbers how that works?
In terms of, let's just say somebody was buying like a $500,000 property, and down payment is required is $100,000.
Okay.
So down payments.
So this part would be
So somebody is providing $100,000.
yeah.
At the end of the 5 years, it's not untypical for the equity through the buildup of cash flow, a mortgage pay down, and even on 2% appreciation to be able to return $100K in terms of equity at the end of 5 years. So you're basically doubling your money in 5 years.
So it's common too.
Yeah, it's not, you don't need a lot of a high appreciation. As I mentioned, only 2% appreciation can achieve this goal.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you put, like for example, a $500,000 property, you put $100,000 down, and then you and the joint venture partners, maybe like, let's say there's 2 joint venture partners, one person would put 10%, the other person would put 90%, and then after 5 years, that 100K turns to an additional 100K?
Yeah. So if somebody was to want to sell the property at that point, they would have the original, assuming it's now, instead of 500, it's say 550 now, as an example. You still have the original 100,000 as down payment.
Yeah.
And then you got approximately 100,000 through the cash flow, mortgage pay down, and the appreciation.
How would I get cash flow and mortgage pay down?
So in a case where if the original mortgage would have been 400,000.
That's right.
Okay. Because approximately 10% is paid off during the first 5 years.
Okay.
The balance will approximately be 360
Okay.
at the end of 5 years. So this is actually equating to 40,000 kind of equity that you built up through the process. And on the appreciation, if we're looking at 2% per year, that's equivalent, that's in 5 years, approximately 10%.
Okay, got it.
So 50,000 is the 10% that you see on the
a
original 500,000.
Okay.
So from a cash flow perspective, we want to make sure that you're buying with cash flow such that you mitigate risk in case there's cycles in the next 5 years in terms of ups and downs. So let's just say there was $200 of cash flow per month. Over 1 year, it's $2,400.
Okay.
5 years is $12,000. So when we add 12,000 plus 40 plus 50, we have 102 in terms of gained equity through the process. That's where that 100K is not out of, it's normal to be.
And then how would they split it later then?
So let's just say there was a contributed the down payment, they would get 50% as mentioned. So 50% of the 100K would be 50,000.
Okay.
And then say the person that was qualifying for the mortgage, it may be a joint, it may be individual. Whoever is involved in qualifying for the mortgage would get 20%, so 20K in this example.
Okay,
And
so like if the person who put 90K and then the other person put 10K, the person gets who put 90K, they would get 20K. Like let's say they were the one who qualified for the mortgage.
Yes.
And then so they would get 20K and then they would get 50% of 100K?
No. If the individual is 90% of the
Oh, 90% of this. Okay.
Because they put in, one person puts 10,000, the
Yeah.
other puts 90,000.
Yeah.
So person who gets put 10,000 would be 10% of the 50%. So
Okay.
it
So
would
it'll
be
be 5%.
5K in the situation.
Oh yeah, 5%
And
of
the other,
yeah.
yeah, the other person would get 45.
Yeah.
And then whoever is the expert here would get 30% of the 100K, so 30,000.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a bit of math in it, but this overall diagram just kind of gives you an idea of how conceptually how this can work and how it can be applied such that you can grow your portfolio faster.
Okay, and then once you start off, do this over and over and over again. So I guess one of the prerequisites is there must be an expert. It wouldn't make sense where two people joint venture and neither of them are the expert.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it usually the person who's the expert that puts the money, or usually the person who's the expert who doesn't really put as much money?
It depends. There's not unlimited capital available. So even if somebody was very experienced with regards to real estate investing, at some point they're going to run out of down payment. And also the ability to qualify for mortgages as well.
Okay.
So just because lenders will cap you in terms of the number of properties you have with them, as well as the entire portfolio. But taking this approach, whether it be through a joint venture or just real estate investing in general, if somebody even was to buy a $200,000 condo, 20% down, they did that and started putting just $100 a month in terms of savings. Over the next 5 years, at that point, they can refinance and actually have equity to buy the second one. So then 5 years later, they can double up again. And through that process, by the time 25 years hits, they're onto their 32nd property and a net worth of $1.6 million from the original $40,000 that was invested.
Wow. As
well as like $100 a month type of thing. But it just shows you the power of compounding. And those that are young, start young. Not necessarily have to start young, because the life expectancy is increasing over time. And you don't have to start when you're young. There's never a bad time to start investing and just taking control of your financial freedom instead of just waiting for things to happen. Stuff happens, and a lot of times it's outside of your control. So you're better off to take advantage of time that you have and achieve the financial freedom that you choose to for your lifestyle. Okay, great. Thanks, Bai. So once again, this is a basic joint venture 101 kind of talk. And then if you guys want to hear more and want an advanced JV talk, make sure you comment below. So once again, it's Gary Wong with GaryWongRealty.com. I'm here with Bai Jiang. Contact information is below. And thanks for watching. Subscribe, share, comment below. And until next time, God bless you. Thanks guys for watching my video. Please subscribe and share with your friends. Email me if you have any more questions. Thank you.